channel viewers, you are watching us live on Caravan News Network. This is your host, this is your show, post-parliamentary election interview. My host today is no strange face to Gambians. He's a household name in Gambian as far as journalism profession is concerned, as far as education is concerned, and shortly I will let him introduce himself to the wide audience. Sir, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Cham, for inviting me for another interview. Of course, I want to be grateful to your media. This medium, indeed, this is not the first time, I always say. This is the second time, obviously, prior to the election, you interviewed me, and this, of course, also as well. I must be appreciative of your invitation. Thank you.
Professor is an intellectual, one will put it. Could you please take us through your CV a little bit?
Yes.
For the viewers to
thank you very much.
Have an insight.
Yes, I have a very lengthy CV, but I just want to abridge it. Obviously, I started my primary school at a village called Jahanka, just behind Bansang, and from there, that was in 1998. You understand, 92 to 98. When I graduated from there, I went to Bantang Junior Secondary School. That was the only junior secondary school in our area there, Upper Flood West constituency. And as I speak to you now, we have only one junior school, which is very sad. A whole constituency is bigger than other constituencies. From Daru to Daru Ward to Galemanda Ward, that length and that breadth is only one junior school. And that is what we wanted to address. And from Bantang, 98 to 2001, I graduated. In fact, all along I have served as the most outstanding student through my school indefinitely. From Armitage, when I graduated, I went to the Gambia College. From there I graduated from the Gambia College. I went to the University of the Gambia. I did English and technology. You understand? I finished my course there, which is social behavior, leadership and development. I also did development policy. That is what I did my master's. From there, I traveled to, I did a university course with South Wales University in England. There I also did 3 different courses, very fundamental indeed in our today's contemporary life. And that is just in short, I am a man of many caps. In fact, I also established 2 NGOs. The other one we call the Sarakatu Jare Foundation. That is not even a new NGO. Everybody knows about that. We did much for communities by providing the water.
When we look at your CV,
yes,
it has a great substance.
Of course.
And then this will doubt.
Yes.
Why should Professor MBALLOW suddenly throw his heart in a political ring?
Yes.
Instead of other recreative professions?
Yes. Good question, Mr. Cham. As I said, I do not work for wealth. I work for humanity. I work for people. If only that was, if I was just working for money, I would have really, in fact, even prior to going for this contest election, I was offered big position. I was working with government, you understand, Prastatal, and that is the PMO and other. In fact, I have worked with many agencies as their bigger boss. So, but unfortunately, I feel that I have to throw that behind and say, okay, my people need me and my people need my assistance. My people need my help. And that is the main reason. That is why I have to drop everything that I was going to do, and then go and, address their issue. And that is the motive. That's why I have to eventually into politics and definitely go and And there's, for one thing, Mr. Cham, you see, there are things that you may want to change. You can only change it through politics. And that is why I have to get into that.
That is one of the reasons that propel you
of course.
to play a part
very well.
in today's politics.
Very seriously,
That's
yes.
interesting.
Yes.
Professor MBALLOW, in this recently concluded national parliamentary contest, you contested on the National Unity Party at Upper Fuladu West constituency.
Yes.
Why do you have to associate yourself with this political party? When they are definitely barely known, in the country compared to United Democratic Party, compared to a National People's Party.
Yes.
So why your choice is associated with this NUP?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Cham, for that wonderful question. Obviously, this question is not even a new question. Many journalists do ask me, why didn't you involve yourself? Why didn't you accept invitation from other political parties that are big, already as well established? But I always tell them that I have passion for what I do. You understand? And again, this NUP, National Unity Party, we set the party. This is a party that belongs to all of us. That is why no one can stand and say, I am the one of the party. If you ask Abdullah Ibrahim Jammeh right now, our flag bearer, he will tell you he doesn't own the party. It is a party that belongs to all of us. We set it together. That's why we call it National Unity Party. Because we saw Gambia is already divided. After that impasse 2017, we felt that there is a need for us to establish a party we call it National Unity, because we need to be united. Where there is no unity, there is no development. And yes, other political parties really invited me. Yes, that one they have tried. They did all what they could do for me to actually join them. But I am not a self-interest person. Everybody knows me of that. I am a communal interest person, and I'm also a nationalist. I'm also I'm somebody that you do not want to just work for yourself, but I want to work for people, and that is why I have to. This party was set on the 8th of August. It was just 2 months interval between 2 months difference between our party and NPP. When they established their party, after 2 months we also established our party. So there's nothing like it's only 2 months difference. So you see, and I could have really joined them, the winning party, but we don't believe in that. We believe everywhere, wherever you are, it is a winning party.
Okay. On the 5th of February, your national executives and 58 compound heads approved your candidature. But what we saw in this contest is you contested alongside Bakar Kora of National People Party, alongside others, and Bakar Kora topped your group with a total vote of 4,078, and you, Professor Barrow, stood at the bottom with 239 votes. Don't you think Bakar Kora has a better strategy and agenda than yourself?
I don't believe in that. In fact, whoever actually for my interviews, like that in media houses there, whoever for my campaigns, even my house to house, definitely I am the most appreciative. I am the most competent candidate. I'm the most qualified candidate. Everybody talked about that. I am, of course, the most consistent indeed. I was, in fact, I was the favorite candidate of the community there. But you see, Mr. Cham, this is politics. Politics has different, routes to flow. Certainly, the pattern I follow, that is not the pattern that people would understand. Because what people understand right now, as I speak to you, and of course you may know that very well, is people believe in give and take. You see, when you buy your vote, I have bought you already. When I buy your vote, I have bought your power. When I buy your vote, I have bought your voice. You have no voice over me. You have no power over me anymore. And exactly that's what people still tend not to believe. They have not understood that kind of, politics. You see, that's what we call it. It is very terrifying, and it is going in a terrific frequency. It did. You see, the politics of buying votes. It should be it should be a history now. But that is what they did. You see. But again, because we don't believe in buying vote, we believe in our agenda, and we felt that our agenda.
What will you say to those
that is a betrayal?
I would say Professor MBALLOW is just speaking, out of nothing.
Okay.
There's no justification. There's no substantial evidence to further prove his allegations.
I have.
What do you have in your hand to prove that this one actually, existed during the political process? No,
but there are no reports, and people were there. Eyewitnesses are there, and in fact, I don't think whether somebody will stand and deny exactly what I'm saying, because I was inside the playing field.
You are a victim.
I was, of course, if the playing field. But again, we could have addressed this issue. We would have taken it into a different level to challenge the results, even to challenge, the incumbent. You understand? But definitely that would have been a waste of time, and that would have been even a distance. But again, we have the evidences put in place that some of our ballot drums were painted with a different color, not with our color. That is one. Two. The photos were misplaced.
The Independent Electoral Commission.
Of course.
About this allegation.
Yes.
You made.
Yeah.
If you have. What is there?
We have all the evidence. Yes, we reported this to the regional office, and I am telling you, but right now they are even watching, and they call you and they'll tell you. We consulted all those that are the regional officers there, and that is Trawale and Tal. They are the one there. They know me very well, and I know them fully well. I have two of my colleagues that are working there.
I'm in for the view that those.
things in order to see that yes, something has really happened, and this is what happened. Yes, fraud has taken fraudulence, has been taken, that has been happening. In fact, buying vote is even a fraud, it's against the rules. You cannot just vote. I know what others were doing. The very day they were going down, right, canvassing people for votes. And
okay. Similarly, we had. Sorry. Let me come on, Professor. Let me come. Yes, let me come in. Let me come in.
Against the law.
You have
and using the public resources, to the benefit of your own candidate.
of a fellow contestant, which is Mr. Kora,
yes,
you would have lead that pool.
Everybody, in fact, there was an assessment that I am going to lead because my agendas were super. And again, obviously, the motive behind me standing, everybody have seen it. That was the top of the town. I am telling you, everybody was behind it. But again, because what they expected or what they wanted, we cannot do that because we cannot just go and buy without intellectualism. We just don't go and dump our intellectualism there, and then we say, okay, we want to just behave like the one in just the madman in the street. And exactly that is the attitude. That is how they behave. You see, how can you be? You see, Mr. Cham, we are with the education, we are with the experience, we are with the expertise, we are with intellectualism. We cannot just do away with that. We are dealing with politics of decency. Now, politics of decency has to know, you don't have to go and interfere with people, manipulate them, try and do some malpractices on the ground, then you cover up, then you buy their vote just because you want them to vote. What are they going to do? Vote that you bought. That means you see you are not you are not competent for that position. That is what we do. We don't do that. We sell off our agenda. Exactly, we speak to them. If you listen to some of my campaign messages, you realize that definitely we were given the best message. We are given the best agenda.
In your campaign period, yes, you were emphasizing the issue of underrepresentation.
Yes.
Example, your incumbent, yes, then, yes, did not do well for the people of your district. Mm-hmm. What the expectation will be quite addressed.
Yeah, already there is that assessment already made that these two. In fact, let me just talk about my own region. This CRR region, and that is my constituency, the Upper Florida constituency, is already in a mess.
How?
Because they are the elections, the outcome of the elections really will not do well with the people of the constituency. Because they have selected or they have elected a representative that will not do well with them, that will not bring any development with them or to them, that will not accept, will also not accept that there's what we call, a withdrawal of candidates. So he should withdraw. You understand? But if that doesn't happen, then there is no development that they will expect, because that is what they registered down. They registered their disappointment of what happened, the election, how it went. Definitely people are really disappointed. They are really disappointed, and it's a disappointment to them. And I'm telling you, you hear all these messages that they are not happy with the outcome of the election, and then that they in fact they are writing, even they started writing in media, in social media, that this what exactly the outcome of the result, it is not going to do very well development with our constituency. So that is already a disappointment.
These results that is achieved by Mr. Kora, mm-hmm, your fellow contestant, mm-hmm, when we say it's a reflection of great work that President Barrow is doing in your in Upper Florida West?
Mr. Chairman, definitely. I am telling you, there is no development yet. We have not felt any development in this country. Obviously, I want to tell you for free. Let me tell you for free that we have not felt development. We are just hearing development. We have not felt it. The village is there. My Upper Florida West constituency, I am telling you, is the most backward constituency. People are really suffering. If you listen to the voices of in my country, you see tears. That I tell you, the livelihood is difficult with them. I tell you, the living condition is trouble. You understand? The skyrocketing of prices are just extraordinary. They are exorbitant. Nobody is able to buy a bag of rice, a gallon of oil. Even a bag of sugar. Just imagine that. With this Ramadan, again, the roads are just trouble. You see? You don't understand. No water, no electricity, no running. It's trouble. You see, gardening is not even happening. All these women, they were complaining about that. You see, feeding is a problem. You understand? Water is a problem. You understand? Security is a problem. So what kind of development are you talking about? You see, obviously there is no implementation, proper implementation. Yes, they have voted, but since they have voted, let us see what development are they going to. But as I speak to you now, as far as I know, there is no development at that place, and that is open for
CRL in general. Yes, is sidelined in the developmental process of the government.
Very well. And if you look at that, Mr. Cham, in history, obviously, Upper Florida West constituency is one of the most deeply rooted, you understand, constituency in the Gambian politics. And in fact, most of these powerful politicians, every powerful leader that you see come from that area. But unfortunately, what do we do? Even our Chief Justice is from Bansang. All of them are from Bansang. And there are other people. Every knowledge, deeply knowledge and preparation is from that Upper Florida West. But unfortunately, we do not see any development. Why? That question needs to be answered. That is why we were able to definitely, get up and say that we must go and address that system. The system was bad.
In your policies, you are going to develop pro-minority policies that advocate for pro-minority, agriculture, health, and others. What is your plan for this beautiful policy now that you are not voted in office?
Yes, as I said, in politics, you don't just, where you don't win, you withdraw. No, I am not going to withdraw. I am not going to step back. In fact, this is a stimulant for me, and I always say that first fail, or fail is not a failure, certainly. A first, is it fail, F-I-F-A-I-L is first attempt in life. So first attempt is now should not serve as a deterrent, or should not serve as discouragement for you. I am going to use all my ways, you understand, in order to make sure that I get what my people want to get. If obviously I am not going to withdraw, I am not going to step back, and make sure that all my agenda, I will work on them, irrespective of who wins, who don't win, irrespective of I am from this party, I'm not from that party, you understand? So I am going to definitely follow the development, and I'll make sure that I work on that. And again, I also want to use him, the winner, but he has a tax. He either has to do the work or he leave the office. That is it.
Some cited the selection methodology or strategy to be a leading factor to the defeat of some of the political parties, including your NUP. Is that a similar case in your camp?
No. Many also made the true words there, and yes, if you look at the other political party, and that is the MPP, obviously their primaries were really not, were not encouraging, and there were a lot of pandemonium there. You see, the pandemonium was what? The act of selection was really not on track, and that was very bad. And to us, my political party don't have that. We definitely, everybody was put, you understand, on track, and then you are scrutinized, you understand. Of course, you know that you are very competent, you are very qualified indeed, and then the one that, you see, when you overcome the other will give up. That is what we did. So, but we don't have that kind of attitude. Exactly. That confusion of selection, who you want to select just because you're afraid or you know the person.
What member of National Assembly do you think Gambians are subjecting to competent test?
Right now, we have a mediocre parliamentarian.
How?
Mediocre parliamentarian, those who doesn't know anything about the constitution of the Gambia, those who don't have any direction. You know, let me just tell you, Mr. Cham, you are really pushing me to the age to speak. Right now, the parliamentarian, it is just, I want to assume, it is just a boat. A boat without I don't call it a captain. There is no captain in fee. Even though there is a captain, but it's without paddles. That is what happens with our national assembly right now as I speak to you. In fact, interestingly, is the funniest thing is
and because Professor MBALLOW is
I am not absent in I am not there, and somebody is also not there. But Mr. Chan, you are a fully qualified journalist. You should follow this thing up. What I am telling you right now, you know what is most interesting and what people have said about. They do not select the most qualified and the most outspoken candidate.
Is that because those people are not the people's choice?
They are not the people's choice. They are the people's choice, but because malpractice took place, and that malpractice place has brainwashed the people. And obviously, before they know it, after 5 years, you are in bondage, you are in trials and tribulation. Then they will get to know that you have, You see, that is what happened there. They have started regretting right now. You see, so that is what happened at the National Assembly right now. You say the people that they should have elected, they never elected those people. I am telling you, those ones are not elected. You see, the most qualified ones, the most outspoken one, the most competent one, the most reliable ones, the most trustworthy ones are not, and the most savvy people are not selected. But there is a question mark. So I call it a mediocre of
this week. You would expect to see the elected members of parliament take out of office.
Okay.
What would you advise them to be their priority as they assume office?
Yes, the only advice I have for them is they have regularly given promises. They made promises, and that is why if you look at our campaigns, we don't make promises, because promises and pledges are different, and unfortunately many do not understand the difference. You pledge that I'm going to do this. If you don't do it, there's no problem with you. But you promise to do it and you don't do it, that's a problem.
There's some obligation.
Yes, that's an obligation, yes. And most of them, they are giving promises instead of pledges. You know very well you don't have. Even those who went on the MPP party or on the ticket of MPP, they don't have the resources. They cannot just go and then face the president and give money. No, they have to go and make connection. Some of them are without connections. What they rely is only on the party they stood for. You understand? Some of us, people like me, if we were there, obviously we have our contacts, we have our partners. We would have didn't source fund, and they would have not. I have said that. Many journalists interviewed me on that. Partly the Kuli and others. They told me that, Parliament don't have a fund. Yes, you don't have a fund, but you go and create fund for yourself. You understand?
The president is given the powers by the constitution to appoint 5 nominated members.
Yes.
If you are to advise the president one-on-one, what would you recommend for him to use as a base to appoint these nominated members?
Yes, I first of all want to advise him that let him look at all the political parties that stood. I think if he listen to me, he will not. In fact, I am sure one of the guys are listening. He let him actually sit down and reflect and said, okay, the political party that contested, that participated in this election, how many of them are, and how many of them do have 1 representative or 2 representatives? How many do have anything? Those who don't have anything, he needs to actually give them one. Why? Because you see, the president elections, when it went the way it went. There was nothing like invitation. Those who that lost the president election, he invited them. One from the party was not employed. I don't know whether he will do that or not, but definitely none of them were invited. So I was going to tell him this, that let him first look at those parties, those political parties that evidently contested and they have not won. They have not won a single seat. Let him discuss with them and see how best they can. That's one. 2, let him look at the most outspoken ones, those that are really not selfish. The like of myself and others. I don't just want to just feel that yes, I have to be there. No. But if I have to be, I must be there when my time is there. That one is obvious. But I'm just telling that people, the like of myself, who have seen the nation, in their heart, have taken the nation in their heart, not just for their pocket. Definitely, he need to look at those people and then invite them. Then they have to have one-to-one, and then they see what they can do for them. Yes.
Now that the political dust has settled, what does future lies for Professor MBALLOW?
Yes, the future obviously is still bright. I must not say that the future is bleak and hopeless. No, you know, I have said in politics, Mr. Cham, you do not just run away. You cannot just withdraw just because you have failed. Yes, if you look at the PDYS, they were established since in 1986. The PDYS party, you know, was shown in 1986 until today. In fact, the UDP in 1996, APRT came. You understand? So you see all those parties there. This party is a new party. We just started again. We have many things to do and we have a long way to go. So I just want to say yes. I will just keep the ball rolling. Well, of course, I will strike while the iron is hot. In fact, this is the more that is. In fact, this one has given me more opportunity, you know, to strike while the iron is hot.
Thank you so very much. This brings us to the end of